doesn't come across that way because I'm very friendly.
And
I am outgoing in a certain sense, but
right.
I guess just I've learned, I'm a people person, and,
right.
and I'm a really good listener, and I make friends easily like that because people trust people who listen and care.
Right.
So I've had a good fortune with that, and I've just found really wonderful people everywhere I've gone, and I've always gone into the attitude where, well, let me find out what's great about this area or what's best about here and embrace it.
Right.
And hold on to what's dear to me from the place I left.
Right.
I always do that. Once I've found someone who's special to me, that's it.
Right.
I'm a lifer.
Yeah.
But at any rate, we went to Virginia from Ohio. So I finished up high school in Virginia Beach, and then I went to college in Virginia. That's where I met my husband.
Okay.
My father then got a job back up in New York, so we went back to that area. We lived in New Jersey, and when I got married, we were out in Long Island. Went back to New Jersey, were there for a while, went to Pennsylvania, went to Maryland.
Wow.
And then we ended up here, so.
Wow.
I've made sort of this big, huge circle.
You have. I'll be in Maryland this Thursday.
Okay.
Actually, D.C. Well,
yeah. We were in Rockville, so.
Oh, okay. And then I'm going to Delaware, to Ocean City.
Yes, very nice.
You know where that is?
Yes.
You've been there?
Yes.
Is it awesome? I've never been there. I'm going.
Yeah, all that, all those beaches up there are nice. And
okay.
I have a good friend who sells real estate in the whole Delaware Beaches area. It's a great place to retire. People love it there.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, see, I didn't know anything. I mean, that's crazy. You've already been there. So 7 states. That's crazy.
7 states.
So what's a tip for somebody who's moving? Because you have done it 7 times. What's a tip that you can give somebody for moving? Because you got some experience there.
I do. I mean, I actually volunteer at a group called Moving On After Moving In, and it's helping women who are new to Charlotte get acclimated to Charlotte. And we spend 9 weeks. We meet once a week on Wednesday mornings, and we have this book that we follow called After the Boxes Are Unpacked. I think it's called that.
Wow, that's a neat book.
It's a great book, and it was written by this woman. I'm going to mess up her last name. Her first name is Susan, that I know.
Okay.
But anyway, she wrote this book because she had moved 14 times in 16 years. Her husband was in the hotel industry.
Wow.
So talk about someone who had been there, done that. And she wrote this great book. And, because people don't realize when you're a newcomer, it's hard to start over again. It's hard, for people who have either never moved before and this is their first move, that they've left everything behind that they've ever known. Their family, their jobs, their friends, their doctors, their way of life, their homes.
Yes.
Or people who move a lot, that it's hard to pick up and leave and move again and again and again.
Right.
But what's the same for all of those people is, the process you go through, feeling the same things that you do when you go through grief, denial, anger, frustration, acceptance, you go through all those things. And
wow, I didn't ever think about that.
Yeah, we have this great program because we understand that, we've all done that and been through that. So we help other women who are coming into Charlotte do the same thing, This gives them an immediate group of people who understand where they're at, who are going through the same thing. There's a Google group we have with everyone who's been through the program, so it's like 400 women now. And it's a private group, and you can send out, hey, do you know a good doctor? Or, what's a good thing to do on Friday night during 4th of July? When are the fireworks? Or, so people just throw out questions and anyone will answer you. Or even like, hey, I'd love to go see this movie. Does anybody want to go? And instantly you'll get a response by a couple of people. It's an amazing group.
Wow.
Really wonderful group. And if there are any newcomers out there, please look us up. We're out of the St. Matthew's Catholic Church in South Charlotte. Okay. And it's called Moving On After Moving In. There's a book, they have a website and everything. And
After the Boxes Are Unpacked.
Yeah. And, it's pretty amazing. And I've never had that anywhere else I've lived. And it made a huge difference in me feeling like this was home. It helps people get acclimated is what it does. Okay. And it gives them an immediate group of support, support group.
Right.
And it's specifically geared towards moms because those are the ones who usually have the trouble adjusting. Usually it's women who move because of jobs, because of their husbands, right?
Right.
The husband has a job to go off to. He's got a whole bunch of new people to meet. He's got enough to do. He's got stuff to do every day, a place to go. The mom is left unpacking the boxes, figuring out where the grocery store is, the doctor is, where this is, where that is, where's the library, how the schools work, where the kids need to go. Having to help everybody get situated and comfortable, and then usually they're stuffing how they're feeling inside, because they're feeling out of sorts. or they're
Right.
feeling lonely, or they're feeling sad, or they're feeling angry that they were dragged here.
Right.
Or maybe they were excited to come, but now it's not what what they thought it was going to be, and they're disappointed.
Right.
There's a whole gamut of ways that you can end up experiencing a move. And so what we do is try to help people get through that.
That is so awesome. You do everything. I was going to ask. About do you still? Now this is no coincidence. She does have the best voice I've ever had on the podcast. So do you still do the voiceovers?
I do. I do voiceovers, and I do acting.
I want to bring that up because you do all this.
Well, that's my volunteer stuff.
Okay.
All that other stuff is
Okay.
volunteer stuff, just because
Okay.
I've been there and I want to help someone else. If I can help someone else go through what I've been through and kind of give them a hand, I've been there. I know what that
Make it
feels
a little
like.
easier.
Yeah, I know what that feels like, and
That's
it's
so
tough.
awesome.
It can be really tough, So those are those volunteer things I like to do.
Right.
But for work, I do voiceovers. I do acting work. I also produce photo shoots on the side. I did that for 15 years in New York City, so it's something I still kind of do on the side.
Right.
So I keep busy.
So now, if somebody's hearing your voice and they're like, "Man, I'd love her for a commercial," how do they contact you?
My website's ValerieMenzel.com.
Can you spell that?
Sure. VALERIEMENZ as in zebra, EL.com.
Okay, all right. So if they need any kind of voice work, they can contact you. And,
Absolutely.
You probably will have to schedule. I doubt you could book her like right now because she's in the studio. But so she's always doing something.
Yes, I have a home studio out of my house, so I can record and send you an email file.
Oh, okay.
So I do that.
Oh wow! So if somebody needed voice work, you can just do it at home, get it ready, and
shoot them off through
that's
email.
See, I want to get to that point where I have like my own studio. That way, if I want to do something, because I do it with the school, and if it's closed and I can't do it, I work on it. But when you get it at home, that's going to be like the epitome of because then you can whenever, or even an office, like where I could. But it'll come.
It'll absolutely come. You'll definitely be there.
Now, how did you live in all these places and you're only 25 years old?
Oh, stop.
She's moved in 7 states and she's 25. Oh, I lived there for a little while. That is, I don't know.
You are very sweet.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. Now, and didn't you used to do something? I told you if she got a little humble. Didn't you used to do something with like L'Oreal or CoverGirl or what you?
Avon. That's who I worked for in New York. I produced their photo shoots for 15 years. I was the head of their production photo services department.
So what was one of your favorite? What was one of your favorite shoots that you had to?
Oh gosh, there were so many. I've produced over 2,000 photo shoots. So
wow.
It's tough to pick just one because there were some that were just so much fun to do.
2,000.
Yeah, over that much. And,
that's
a
lot of experience.
It's crazy.
You know what you're doing.
It was crazy, and I was in charge of all the other producers as well. So I had a team of people who were also producing. But I guess one of my favorites was we shot Bo and Hope from Days of Our Lives.
No,
down in Miami Beach.
I still watch Days of Our Lives. I know I'm sounding. Yeah, I used to watch Days of Our Lives because my aunt watched it.
Exactly.
I kind of got
exactly. Well, they were in one of our shoots. We were doing I think it was a fragrance, and they were the models for it. So we brought them to Florida. It was an enormous production. It was like $300,000 a day, worth of production, and it was very difficult shoot to pull together because I had to negotiate with NBC, the Days of Our Lives, with their, William Morris and all their different top-notch agencies, and because they both came from 2 different agencies. So
oh, really?
It was a huge ordeal to get this whole thing to happen.
So both of them had 2 different agents.
2 different Hollywood agents, and I had to deal with the network. I had to deal with the TV show. I had to deal with so many different people to get that thing to happen. And they thought that was going to take like 8 weeks. 8 months. I pulled it off in like 6 weeks.
Wow.
So it was crazy. Yeah, it was a crazy one.
Good job.
It was a crazy one, but it was a really fun one, and we really had a great time, and it came out great.
Now you said that was a $300,000 day.
Mm-hmm.
That is really, really expensive. Now is that that's on the high end? I'm taking it.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And what's usually like the average?
Average, depending on the caliber of talent you're using, because that's what the variables are. How expensive is your photographer? How expensive are your hair and makeup people? How expensive is your model? Because all of those people can be super high end,
right, or
they can just be middle of the road, or they can just be just green people who are just starting out. You know what I'm saying? So you can have a photographer who's $25,000 for the day, Or you can have a photographer who's $4,000 for the day.
$25,000 for the day. Wow.
Yeah. So, you know, that's what makes it, that's what, you know, makes your budget go up and down. Also, are you doing it on location or are you shooting in a studio? Are you using a ton of props? Are you building a set? Are you using, you know, really high-end wardrobe, or are you buying stuff at Old Navy? You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
All of those things are factors. And now that there's digital, and that's a component, you know, we have the digital tech, you have the digital station, you have processing that are fees involved with that. The other thing that comes into place a lot of times now because of the internet, they want to do B-roll. So you have to have a guy who's in there shooting B-roll. So you have the video costs involved. The lighting can be extremely expensive. Some photographers use a ton of lighting and some don't use that much. Some use a ton of equipment and some don't use that much.
Right.
You know, some have a huge crew, some have a smaller crew. So it all depends on who you're using.
It sounds like they all took your the Gallup workplace thing, and they all know, like, because some of them have a lot of lights because they need that. They took the assessment test.
No.
You know, that's the type of photographer.
No. That's because they're the creative. That's their creative juices at work there. You know, they just some people have this. I know you're messing with me. But some photographers, you know, their lighting is such that they need a huge whole setup. You know, this one in particular that I love to work with because he's a sweetheart. But he takes a long time to set up because he's got a ton of stuff that he sets up. Whereas this other guy that I also love doesn't use any lights at all, or a few. So he's quick to get started because he doesn't have this huge, enormous setup. He likes natural light.
Right.
So he takes advantage of the light that's coming through the window, or you know, whatever, he shoots outside, whatever.
Right.
So that's all, you know, there's a lot of pieces, and that's what a producer, a photo shoot producer does, is it puts all those pieces together. You're the glue that makes it all happen and brings all those people together. You take care of the casting, you take care of booking everybody, you take care of all the contracts, the negotiating, and all that paperwork that has to happen.
Right.
But you also make sure everybody's where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be there, with whatever they need to get there.
Right.
Sometimes that's involved. Sometimes if you're shooting on location, you have to rent a location van, or you have to fly people in, or you're arranging for their travel, or, you know, there's a whole magilla involved.
Wow. So if somebody's listening and they want to go in this industry, that's perfect.
Yeah.
She gave you her website. You probably ought to email her. How do I get into this? How do I do this? But don't flutter too much. But well, I wanted to check. Let me check this camera because I know that today, since we got, and I don't know what time you have to leave. I just want to make sure I got everything, you know, taken care of. And that's the beauty I love about the podcast, is because it's not like I don't have to have everything exactly right. You know, people, when you're watching podcasts, it's more conversation. It's just live. It's unscripted. You know, and I love this. You know, like, so I can look at the time and like, oh, if you did that on the news.
No.
Yeah, that's it. You get out.
Right.
So how much time do you have? Because I don't know. I didn't want to. Oh,
okay.
Let me,
Okay. What time
I'll let you know. It is 1:17.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. I just want to make sure. But we do have. I did want to check that since we weren't using the board, because you know this will record forever. The boards will. But with the cameras and
we'll run out of time.
Yeah, so I don't want us over here talking and it's like we're off. Yeah. So what do you? Yeah, we're just dead air. We're over here talking for no reason. The camera stopped. So now, what's your favorite place? Like, do you have any? What was your favorite place to live in? Is it Charlotte now, or was it Manhattan? Do you see yourself over? I mean, I don't know. There's a thing for New York City, and I think I'm a fan of greatness. So New York City, I think it's a great city. Yeah. Like, and I haven't lived there ever, but just when you hear people talk about it, and you know, I've been there, but just to live there, I've never lived there. Like, I think that would be amazing. Like, what is it like to live in New York? Well, before I get to the question of where you're
because you've always lived in this area?
No, I was born in Seneca, or I was born in Anderson at the hospital, but it was 30 minutes from Seneca. So as soon as I was born in Anderson, I drove back to Seneca. Okay. And that's where I grew up. And it's right next to Clemson, South Carolina. Mm-hmm. So
and Greenville's a great town.
Right, yeah, I lived in Greenville for like 5 years.
Yeah, I've heard great stuff about that.
I've only been here for like 6 years in Charlotte. But I first came in Belmont, and Charlotte has so many parts. It's not like Seneca. We have like approximately 39 red lights, so we don't really have any parts. It might be neighborhoods, like, you know. But Charlotte, you come here, and Belmont is completely opposite from Fort Mill, which is completely opposite from Ballantyne, you know, which is completely opposite. It's like they have a bunch of little cities here. Yeah. You know, so and Charlotte's, quite frankly, the hardest place I've ever had to learn how to get around.
Really?
Yes, because they're street signs. It doesn't. You could be going. You could be on East Boulevard going west, or going north,